Hey, what's going on guys? Alex here with TFL Bike. I'm here in Las Vegas at the AIM Expo and I'm standing in front of the Zero booth right now because behind me are two electric police motorcycles. Pretty unique. Let's take a look. So Zero is showing off two different models of police bikes here. We have the DSRP and the FXP, and both of these are based on bikes that Zero already makes. The FXP being based on the FX, and the DSRP being based on the DSR, which actually we already tested and made some videos on last summer. So if you're interested in seeing the non-police version of this bike, we have a few videos for you to check out. So the DSRP is gonna be your more powerful, kind of on-road police bike. And then moving over to the FXP, this is more of your dual sport, go anywhere police bike, but this one you're gonna be a little bit limited on range compared to the DSRP. And before I go into how these are kitted out and all the extra accessories that have been put on here for making it a police bike, let's just talk about why the police might want to go with an electric motorcycle over a gas-powered vehicle. So the first reason is that electric motorcycles are emission-free and police tend to idle their bikes a lot. So having something that's better for the environment is definitely a good thing. There's also less heat when you're idling. So if you're idling a big, let's say Harley or BMW police bike, whoever's sitting on it is going to have a lot of heat coming onto their body, onto their legs, and probably will end up shutting their bike off. Whereas with this, it doesn't put out very much heat at all, and you can pretty much leave it on all the time. Also, electric bikes are pretty much silent. Sure, they do make a little bit of noise, but compared to their gas-powered counterparts, they are pretty much silent. And if you're out enjoying the ride, you're really just riding your bike to ride, sure, you want to hear some engine sounds. That definitely helps the experience. But if you're using a machine like this for work, it's really not a bad thing to have a silent machine. You can hear all your surroundings. Whoever's riding this, patrolling the area, can have a better sense of what's going on around them when they don't have a huge, loud, obnoxious motor screaming in their face. Also, like I mentioned, on a gas bike, a police officer is probably pretty likely to shut the bike down when they're not actually riding. But with this, you can just leave it on. There's no noise, no heat coming off of it. And then when they see something that they need to go attend to, they really just twist and go instead of having to turn the key, hit the kill switch, start the bike. So starting from a stop on an electric bike can be a much quicker process than on a gas-powered bike. There's also no gears, so a police officer riding this can focus more on their surroundings, patrolling the area out around them, also focus more on some of the other equipment that's on here and not have to worry about shifting through gears, using a clutch, frees up their left hand to control some of this extra switch gear. Electric motorcycles also open up the possibility for indoor riding, which is not something you'd really think is a huge deal, but for patrolling and for police officers, that could definitely be a game changer. And lastly is maintenance. There's really not a whole lot of maintenance to do to an electric bike. Sure, you still gotta, do your suspension maintenance, your brakes, all that kind of stuff, but no oil changes, no engine maintenance really. So one less thing to think about and definitely could save some departments a lot of time. All right, we are so close to looking at all the additional gear that's on here to see what actually makes this a police bike. But before we do, I just want to go through the specs of both of these bikes, and the specs are pretty much identical to the non-police versions. So if you know what those are, this is all gonna sound pretty familiar. But let's start out with the DSRP, the more on-road, more powerful bike. Standard, it comes with a 14.4 kilowatt hour battery, but you can upgrade that to an 18 kilowatt hour battery with what they call the power tank. You can also, instead of the power tank, get a charge tank, which allows for faster charging as well. 91 mile combined range. If you get that power tank I was talking about, it's going to be 114 mile combined city and highway range, 70 horsepower, 116 foot-pounds of torque, 102 mile per hour top speed, and charging times range from 2.8 to 11.6 hours, depending on what kind of charger you're using. So pretty impressive top speed actually for an electric bike, 102 miles per hour, not bad. And then moving over to the FXP, this has a 7.2 kilowatt hour battery pack, 47-mile combined range. I was trying to show you that little badge right there, 7.2, I wasn't lying about that. 47-mile combined range. This makes a good bit less power than the DSRP over there. So we're looking at 46 horsepower, 78 foot-pounds of torque, and a slower top speed of 85 miles per hour. But one cool thing about the FXP is that the battery packs are actually swappable. So you can see a little key and latch system there. You can slide these batteries out and swap them out, which would be very, very helpful for a police department who's on the run all the time. You can charge a battery while you're using one and then come back, swap them out, and really have no downtime on the bike at all, versus the DSRP, which does have a larger battery pack, but it is not hot swappable. All right, now let's talk about the cool stuff, all the extra police gear that is fitted to these bikes. So first off, you gotta have your police lights. So both of these bikes up at the front have little light pods, which you can see right here. Same thing over on this bike. And they both also have additional light pods mounted on the side as well, and in the rear. So both of these bikes, pretty much whatever angle you are standing at least two of those lights are going to be visible to let everyone know this is a police bike. And there's little LED lights on the license plate as well. So pretty much everywhere where they could have snuck in some police lights, they did. It's visible from all angles. Also, one of the big differences is the color. You can see some of the other bikes in Zero's lineup here. They have much more trendy colors compared to the black and white that you see here on the police bikes, but what else would you expect? It needs to be black and white to be a proper police motorcycle. Also fitted to these bikes are crash bars, which help protect the battery as well. And mounted to the crash bar is a siren and PA system. So you can see that loudspeaker right there. And then moving up to the tank, here is some indicator lights and then the little port to plug in the controller for it, the microphone. And you can see that's even got a little spot to mount in on the tank right there. And that's pretty cool. Because this bike doesn't have a clutch, whoever's riding it can actually operate this with one hand while they're going down the road. So definitely easier to use with an electric bike. There's a little RAM mount up on the handlebar for a cell phone and an added 12-volt socket right there so you can charge up on the go. And then both of these bikes have different cargo solutions on them as well. So the DSRP right here has a more traditional set of side cases and a top case, which you can see there gives you a lot of storage. But then over on the FXP, a little bit of a different solution here. There's this rear rack, and mounted to it is this lock box, which really could be used for anything. You could put additional radio equipment in there, maybe ticket books for all the sport bike riders that are getting speeding tickets. So definitely two completely different ways of setting up the cargo on this bike. And all these bikes are pretty much built to spec for whatever department is ordering them. And there's no standard package for a police bike. Whoever's ordering it pretty much tells Zero what they want, and Zero will equip it how the customer wants it. So there's a few things they offer that aren't pictured on either of these bikes, one of which is a telescoping light pole that comes up from the top with a little blue light on the top, just to give some more height to the lighting and alert people on the road that there's maybe a police officer stopped on the side of the road. There's also some optional accessories that you can mount up front for some tie down points, or even a spot to hook up a tow strap if you need to give someone or receive a tow. These bikes are belt driven from the factory, but Zero does give police departments the option to change them to chain drive, so should make for easier maintenance. Swapping a belt can be a huge hassle sometimes, although they are pretty durable, but putting a new chain on can be a lot easier than putting a new belt on, so you have that option. And of course then your standard accessories that you'd be able to put on any motorcycle, like hand guards, windscreen, beefier foot pegs, stuff like that. So lots of different accessories that can be fitted onto both of these motorcycles to make them more compatible for whatever police department's using them. Now right below the left handlebar control is the controller for the lights and sirens. So the green button's the siren right there. Then you have the off position and then rear and all lighting right there to control all your police lights. There's also another lighting switch right here, and this is really cool. This enables the stealth mode. So on a normal motorcycle, when you turn the key, the headlight and the tail light comes on automatically. There's no way to shut them off. But on this bike, you actually have the option of shutting off all the running lights while the bike is still moving, and that can just allow the police to sneak up on someone if they need to be really sneaky. And both these police bikes are also fitted with a parking brake, which is a little bit odd to me. I had that complaint when we had the DSR Black Forest edition back at the office. I thought that bike needed a parking brake, so I'm a little curious why Zero thinks only police electric motorcycles need parking brakes and civilian electric motorcycles don't. But if you have any ideas on that, let me know in the comments. So there you have it, 2 electric police motorcycles from Zero. These really just caught my eye. I saw a ton of extra gear mounted up to them, and I had to stop by and see what was going on. Definitely an interesting concept. Definitely some good reasons why police might want to switch over from gas-powered bikes to electric. So let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on this. Do you think this is something that's going to take off? Or do you think we're years away from police switching to electric motorcycles? Let me know. And as always, don't forget to head on over to tfl-studios.com so you don't miss any of the stories in the motorcycle world. Catch you in the next video.